Hey there, this is Linda and welcome to another Project Life process video. This is the week of July 25th through 31st in 2022. And because this is the last week of the month of July, I am going to be working with the Allie Edwards Stories by the Month kit for July, which I have in this nice little tray. These trays are just, it's the storage box, you can't even see on there, that came from Archer and Olive that a notebook came in, and I just save all of those to keep various kits and things in. So this kit came with some 4x6, 3x4 cards, chipboard, word phrase stickers, some wood veneer hearts in various colors, and a 3x4 stamp. What I'm going to do first is go through the cards and kind of select which ones I want to use, crop out my photos, get everything laid out, and get an idea of what's going to go into each pocket, and then I will go ahead and put my spread together. I do have my sticky note here that has a highlight of the various things that happened this week, and I will use that as kind of a note for what I'm going to include, or so I remember to include all the stories I want to include. This year, these kits have some repeated cards, and I use the same ones every single month that are repeated in every single kit, just for some continuity. There are 4 3x4 cards, oh, here's the other one, that are included, and there's 1 4x6 card that is repeated. Let me see here. Oh, it's this one right here. So I always have been using that one for my title card for these weeks, and I've been including these 4 journaling cards. This one I've been using for a story from the week, and this one from my bullet point list, but these 2 I have been doing a recap of the entire month. What I'm going to go ahead and do now is put you on fast forward, cut out all my photos, and see if I want to use any of the other cards from the kit, and then put my spread together.
Okay, as usual, I start my process by cropping out all of my photos. My photos this week were printed at a variety of times, just as I'm printing photos for other projects. Right now, I've been working on Week in the Life, and I know some people, when they scrapbook, work on one project at a time. I don't. I go back and forth between projects, and that's one way that I keep up with Project Life, is that I never fully put it to the side. So even though I've been working on Week in the Life lately, whenever I need to print photos and I have a little bit of extra space on an 8.5 by 11 sheet, I just edit and print a couple photos for Project Life and slip them in the album until I'm ready to put the spread together. Now that I have all my photos cropped out and kind of laid out, I'm going through the cards in the kit and trying to get an idea of what I want to include. My cat had his birthday this week, and so I thought that Party On card would be fun to cut up and use as an embellishment for that, for the photo of him with his party hat on. I'm just kind of going through and rearranging my photos. I don't have a ton of 4x6 photos this week, so I put one of the 3x4 photos on top of that card with oranges on it, which I really like, and I think the colors match really well to my photo. And then I have one more 4x6 card there that I'm considering using, that Life Right Now journaling card, but I also kept out that quote one, because I was unsure if I had enough stories to tell to fill up the moments card that I'm going to use, which is kind of like a bullet list, the Life Right Now card, and the Currently card. And you'll see as I go through the process, what I end up doing is including the Life Right Now in the moments card, but cutting out the Currently card and saving that for another spread. After I have all of my cards laid out, you saw I went through the chipboard pieces in the kit and decided kind of what I wanted on my cards. And then after I had the chipboard out, I had 3 cards in a row that had hearts on them. So I rearranged them so that the hearts were more evenly distributed throughout the spread. Now I'm cutting out the word party from this card and using it to embellish this photo of my cat. that party on card just wasn't really my style, but cropping it out and just using that word allows me to use the card, and so it doesn't live in my stash forever. And I still like it because it, on a much smaller scale, it does seem to work for me. So it's important to kind of make sure that you make your products work for you. And if something is not really something that you love, then find a way to make it something that you want to use or give it away. So my friend Teresa was passing through town this week, and so we stopped and caught up. And so I'm using this journaling card here to tell the story of that and of what we did when we were hanging out. And then that photo of us is right above it. And I added a chipboard piece to that. And I'm really just kind of keeping my embellishing simple on this spread. Now I'm going back to my sticky note here that has a list of all of my stories, because that was really the only longer story I wanted to tell this week. And I'm just going through and kind of labeling them and figuring out what stories do I want to include on that moments card and what ones do I want to include on the life right now. And do I have stories for that currently card, which I'm going to decide that I do not have enough stories for that. That this happened in July gratitudes card, I'm ignoring them for the moment, because if you will recall, I'm using those every month this year on the last spread of the month, which this one is. And I'm using them to tell stories of a recap of the entire month, not just the week that they are in. I decided to embellish this Life Right Now card by adding some word phrase strips from the kit at the beginning of each journaling. I just picked some phrases that were pretty general or kind of went along with the story that I was going to tell on that particular number. And I'm just telling, 4 stories from the week that I wanted to journal a little bit about, but didn't really need their own journaling card. And you know that that's something I do pretty much every week. And I tend to use that moments card for that purpose. But because I'm using this card, I'm going to need to come up with something else to do with the moments card, which you will see in a little bit. But as I'm just journaling here, I'm crossing things off of my sticky note and just telling a few of the stories from this week that were a little bit too long to fit on that moments card, which was one reason why I was happy to use this card. This week, my daughter went away on vacation. She went to Cape Cod with her dad. And so I was pretty much by myself most of the week. And she came back on Friday night. So she was here for the weekend, but she didn't actually make it into any of my photos this spread, which is totally fine. She's usually on my spread, but now that she's getting older and she's with her dad sometimes, she's not showing up quite as often. Then I'm moving on to this moments card here, and on this one, I decided to pull out some alpha stamps and stamp a few things that happened this week that were just quick stories that I could just stamp out very simply. I didn't have a ton of good photos this week, but one of the photos I took was of the old air conditioning filter and the new one, because I changed the filter and I did some things to update my air conditioning. So I told that story. I had a Zoom call with the Ali Edwards brand ambassadors to see a preview of December Daily products. And so I have that story on here. And then I have a screenshot from that in one of the 4x6 pockets. I also have a couple just other random photos this week. Some of them were things I took for my Instagram or for Instagram stories, and I just ended up cropping them to fit and put them on the spread. Because I was stamping in black ink and that bottom piece of that moments card was such a dark blue, I decided to not stamp anything there because I wasn't sure it would show up, and I added a word phrase strip instead. I decided to take out that currently card and replace it with the floral pattern. And then I pulled one of the wood veneer hearts from the kit to embellish that card. And I'm adding my dates on here with a label sticker and adding on one of the chipboard hearts. Next, I'm going to do my July gratitudes journaling, where you can't see on camera here, but off screen, I am flipping through the rest of my spreads in my Project Life album for this month and reminding myself of the highlights of the month and things that I wanted to list out on this card. That this happened card, I'm going to tell a more feelings-based story about the month overall, but I'm going to go ahead and do that one off camera. So I am done with my journaling here. I thought I was done with my spread, so I'm kind of rearranging everything and getting ready to slip it into the pockets, which I'm going to do very shortly. I wanted to kind of balance out the colors and the white versus dark cards, photos versus journaling, and just kind of create more balance across the spread, which is really hard to do before your cards are all filled in. And then I'm going through and slipping everything into the pockets. When I get to that heart card, the one that has the floral pattern with the wood veneer heart, I'm going to decide that that heart is a little too plain how it is. It's just a very large heart. I'm sorry for my head on the screen there. And I just feel like it needs to be broken up a bit. So I went over to my stash and got some white word phrase strips that are summer themed. And I'm using them to kind of create some stripes on this heart. And then I'm going to end up cutting them out. I should have done this before I glued it down and I realized that and have to tear it up, but it ends up working. I'm also using rolling adhesive to adhere these better to the wood veneer. Although they are stickers, they didn't stick very well onto the wood veneer, but with rolling adhesive, they seem to be held in place. And then I'm just cutting them out and adhering it back down and calling this spread good. Thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you.